Hello students, welcome back to this online course of Water Resource Engineering. So in the previous lecture we have seen the mechanics of sediment transport. So today let us see what are the problems in our country and how we are going to design the canals or channels for irrigation purpose. So in the prehistoric periods, the area bounded by Indo-Gangetic Plain, that is area starting from Himalayas to Vindhyas mountain, you can just see the map of India, not the political, the physical map. In that you can easily locate these areas: Indo-Gangetic Plains, Himalayan range, Vindhya range. These are the mountain ranges used to be in the form of depressions with water flowing over. So this is the story of like millions of years ago. But what happened to these mountains? With the passage of time, it was filled up with loosely filled fine silt particles, thereby forming nothing but what is known as alluvial soil. So in this way, alluvial soil was formed with the help of flowing water over the various mountain ranges. Almost all the North Indian rivers flow through such soils and therefore do carry a certain amount of sediment. So the plains, Indo-Gangetic plains, were formed by the water which were carrying some kind of sediment. Basically, it was silt. So with the gradual passage of time, the particles, the sediments get deposited and the alluvial soil was formed in this manner. Sorry. Artificial channels have to carry their water supply from such rivers and thus carrying sediment. So the channels which we are going to design will be carrying the sediments because they will be carrying water from these type of rivers which are already having sediments. We know that water moving with a given velocity and a certain depth can carry in suspension only a certain amount of silt of a certain nature. So it is a limitation of water, it cannot carry the silt or the sediment at a particular velocity. It will be having particular amounts of silt and that too some particular fixed nature of silt it can only carry. So if water of a given velocity and depth is not fully charged, not fully charged means it is not having the full amount of sediment which it can carry at that particular given velocity. So what is going to happen if the water of a given velocity and depth is not fully charged with silt that it can carry in suspension? It will score the bed. So what it is going to do to charge it fully, it will score the channel bed. And why it is doing so? To achieve that amount of that sediment which it can carry and sides of the channel till it fully charged with the silt. So it is having no other option other than to score the riverbed and side of the channel, sorry, not river, channel. Hence, if the velocity of flow in the channel is more, the bed and the banks are likely to be eroded, and similarly if the velocity is less, the silt which was formerly carried in suspension is likely to be dropped. So there are two problems. So if the velocity, let us say some velocity v is there, at that velocity and that particular depth the water will be carrying a certain amount of sediment, or in this case we can tell it at a sediment load. It can carry fixed amount of sediment with it. If the velocity is more, what is going to happen? If velocity is more, so the sediment carrying capacity of that particular water will be more. So to achieve that capacity, it will start eroding the channel bed and the side of the channel bed. And so what can be the other condition? If the velocity is less. So first this condition was velocity is more. Now if velocity is less, So at lesser velocity, the sediment carrying capacity of that particular water will be will become less. So to reduce its uh, capacity, or to achieve that lower capacity, it will start silting the sediment. So the channel bed will get deposited with the silt which was in the suspension. So silting and scoring in channels is not very uncommon. So it is a very common phenomena. It is not like it is very uncommon. In every channel there will be either silting or scoring, it at any cost. You cannot say at, like, it will be a theoretical situation in that silting and scoring is not found, but in practical situation silting and scoring is very common and is understandable, but most must be avoided by proper design. So these are not favorable conditions. Silting and scoring are not favorable condition. This must be avoided by proper design. So we cannot avoid 100%, but what we can do, we can try for it. So how we are going to try? We are going to design the channels in certain particular manner so that silting and scorings can be uh, avoided. So what is the problem? Let us see. Scoring lowers the full capacity level and causes loss of command. So scoring will reduce the full supply level. It may also cause breaching of canal banks and failure of foundations of irrigation structure. So it is during the scoring process, it can erode the foundation also, which is not safe. So what silting is doing? Silting interferes with the proper working of a channel as the channel section gets reduced by siltation. So silting is there, so depth is going to reduce, thereby reducing the discharging capacity of the channel. Therefore, while thinking to design a properly functioning channel, one must think to design such a channel in which neither silting nor scoring takes place. So we have to think a channel which we are going to design. We are not going to permit scoring as well as silting in that particular channel by fixing some parameters which we will be seeing. So such a channel are known as stable channels or regime channels. Which type of channels are stable channels or regime channels? In which silting and scoring are not happening. Neither silting nor scoring. So let us understand more clearly or more comprehensively what is a regime channel. A channel is said to be in a state of regime. It is a state if the flow is such that silting and scoring need no special attention. Why it not need special attention? Because it is not happening. So if it is not happening, why to worry for that? So such a stable channel is not easily possible in rivers, but in artificial channels such a state can be obtained by properly designing the channel. So in river we cannot do anything. We can do particular things, but most of the things are not in our control in the case of rivers. But the channels which we are designing, so we are having, mostly we can control these things, and we can prevent or we can avoid silting and scoring by fixing some parameters. So the basis for designing such an ideal non-silting, non-scoring channel is that whatever silt has entered the channel at its head is kept in suspension so that it does not settle down and deposit at any point of channel. So how we can do this? How we can design a particular channel for a regime condition, that is neither silting nor scoring. So we cannot avoid the silt to enter the channel, but what we can do, we can keep it in suspension so that whatever silt is coming, it will remain in suspension, and at the end of this system, irrigation system, it will be carried forward. It is not going to settle down. And to prevent scoring, we have to maintain particular velocity that we can control with the help of fixing the area, because velocity will be discharge divided by area. So area we can control. Moreover, the velocity of the water should be such that it does not produce local silt by erosion of channel bed and slopes. So if this is avoided, so it can be easily in a state of regime. So here comes the first theory which was proposed for design of irrigation channel, and it was proposed by R.G. Kennedy, and popularly it is known as Kennedy's theory, which was proposed in the year 1895. So it is very old, not very old, but it is quite like 150 years, 130, almost 25 years. So R.G. Kennedy, an executive engineer of Punjab PWD, so he was in Public Works Department in the state of Punjab. So what he does, he carried out extensive investigations on some of the canal reaches in the upper Bari Doab canal system. So this is the reason where he investigated few canal reaches. So what he does after that, after selecting the canal system, he selected some straight reaches of the canal section which had not posed any silting and scoring problems during the previous 30 years or so. So when he started his investigation, he chose Upper Bari Doab canal system for his study, and what he in that system also he chose those particular canal systems or canals which were not showing any sign of silting and scoring for a period of 30 years or more. So minimum 30 years or nearly 30 years, like that. So from the observations he got from these types of canals, he concluded that the silt supporting power in a channel cross section was mainly dependent upon the generation of the eddies. So eddies are the currents, water currents. So these, he found that these are the main the factor on which silt supporting power of a channel is depends. So generation of eddies rising to the surface. So these eddies are generated at the bed, and these are rising to the channel surface. These eddies are generated due to the friction of the flowing water with the channel surface. So when water is flowing, the channel bed is not purely smooth. So due to that friction, these eddies are generated, and these are the main factor on which silt supporting power in a channel was dependent. So the vertical component of these eddies try to move the sediment up. So the eddies, these are very irregular type of currents. Eddies itself is like irregularity. So vertical component of these eddies try to move the sediment up. So vertical component in vertical direction. So they were trying to keep the sediment in the upward direction, while the weight of the sediment tries to bring it down. So let us say this is some type of sediment particle. So it is having some weight W, and the vertical component of eddies P will be trying to keep. So this is trying to keep it upwards, and this is trying to pull it down, thus the keeping in sediment in suspension. So if these forces are balanced, so the net force in the vertical direction will be 0. So this is not going to move either upward or downward, and it will remain in suspension, and it will carry with the water. So if the velocity is sufficient to generate these eddies so as to keep the sediment just in suspension, silting will be avoided. So first observation what he got, if we are able to produce this vertical component equal to the weight of that particular particle then what is going to happen? The net force in this direction is 0, and this will remain in, it is having only horizontal component, so it will be in the suspension. So based upon this concept, he defined the critical velocity V0 in a channel as the mean velocity, which will just keep the channel free from silting or scoring, and related it to the depth of flow by the equation. So he defined this particular velocity at which velocity the eddies are producing, the vertical component of the eddies produced are balancing the weight so that the sediment can be kept in suspension. This he termed as critical velocity. And to calculate this, he related this critical velocity to the depth of flow by this equation. So V0 is equal to C1 multiplied by y raised to power C2. C1 and C2 are constant depending upon the silt charge. So depending upon the nature of the silt or the silt charge, this can be calculated. So C1 and C2 are found to be 0.55 and 0.64 in SI unit respectively. So the final equation he proposed is V0 is 0.55 y raised to power 0.64. So this is the equation he proposed. Since this formula was worked out especially for the upper Bari Doab canal, so how he found these C1 and C2? He put the values of V0 and Y for different canals which he was investigating, and he came up with these. So what is the limitation? Limitation is this equation is calculated for only upper Bari Doab canal. So it could not have been applicable into other canals or canal system due to variation in the type of soil at various canal sites. Why? Because these parameters are calculated, these are depending upon the silt charge, and the silt charge in the different areas of the country is different from upper Bari Doab or Punjab, you can say. So this cannot be used overall the country. So realizing this lacuna means this problem. So realizing this limitation or lacuna, Kennedy later introduced a factor m. So he introduced a factor m in this equation to account for the type of soil through which the canal was to pass. So he came up with this limitation and he tried to resolve it by introducing a factor m. The problem was with the soil, so m was accounting for the type of soil through which the canal was to pass. This factor, which was dependent upon the silt grade, was named as critical velocity ratio and denoted by m. So what happened? So the equation get modified as V0 is equal to 0.55 m y raised to power 0.64. So y is in meter, so velocity is also in meter per second. He came up with this equation. For sands coarser than the standard, the values of m were given from 1 to 1.2, and for sands finer than the standard, m value was valued between 1 to 0.7 as shown in this table. So depending upon the region of the canal system, we can calculate m. So silt of river Indus with the Pakistan region, it is 0.7. Light sandy silt in North Indian rivers 1. Light sandy silt a little coarser 1.1. Sandy loamy silt 1.2. Debris of hard soil 1.3. So if in the question nothing is given about m, you can refer to this table. So in the next lecture we will see the design process, and we will solve the problems of, we will design the canal system with the help of Kennedy's theory. So this is all for today. Thank you.